It looks like a pilgrimage that would take place every 4 years at Les Sables d'Olonne. By hundreds of thousands, worshippers squeeze like sardines and stroll the pontoons. During 3 weeks in this temple of open sea racing, they can near the icons of a contemporary myth, the Vendée Globe.
We're very excited, so we're coming here this year to see the depart, and February we hope to be out here again to see the return.
To take off at sea for 3 months alone, an extraordinary human adventure, and everyone must feel it deep down. One probably needs to turn to the Tour de France cycling to find such craze, such fervor. But this is another story. A story where a multitude of earthlings remain dockside, while a handful of sailors get ready to pick up a most abnormal challenge. I think people are very faithful and attached to the race. I believe it develops people's imagination. We're looked upon as madmen from out of space. I think everyone asks themselves the same question. How do they get to do such a crazy thing? I ask myself the same thing. This crazy thing, a world-around solitary sail race, no stopover, no assistance. On November 6th, there will be 29 leaving the Sables d'Olonne for a better return. A 45,000-kilometer course which imposes to link the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans before getting back to the Atlantic after having crossed the Good Hope Cape, Cape Lewin, and the famous Cape Horn. As with each of its edition, this 8th Vendée Globe brings a batch of novelties. The highest participation of foreign competitors, 10 different nationalities. It's never been seen before.
It's great to see so many nationalities. And obviously it's still predominantly a very French race, and the organisers, they are trying to make it more international. It's great to see that it's growing.
It's a little like the Olympics. A moment for partying, for rejoicing, a time of strong values, great big values. So it would be even more wonderful for the Vendée Globe to truly become an international event, so that the whole world would join in the party. I'd find that great. Besides France, Great Britain, Switzerland, Hungary, Spain, and the United States, 4 nations are entering the course: Ireland, the Netherlands, New Zealand, and Japan. For Kojiro Shiraishi, patience is a virtue. He is the first Asian at the start of the Vendée Globe. It's been almost 30 years I've been dreaming of being at the start of this race. Still now, at 49, the most important is to never give up your dreams. I never stopped thinking about it, and this is how I'm here in front of you today. Another never seen before. The difference in age of the skippers. A wide split between American Rich Wilson, 66, and the fiery Swiss Alan Rura, 23. As long as you haven't done the Vendée Globe, you can't be sure you're capable of doing it. I'm here to fight against other boats, but we remain skippers, and the number of miles you can account for, after all, we don't care about it so much. Without any doubt, the most visible technical innovation on this Vendée Globe, the appearance on certain boats' flanks of these curious appendices in the shape of a mustache, the foils. 7 competitors have chosen these last-generation appendices. They're used to relieve the boat, so it doesn't float or rub as much on the water. The foil is clearly used to get rid of wet surface. So putting the foil in the water will relieve the boat's stem or its hull, which induces it'll be less held up by water. It produces a bit of a trail when not functioning, so it's penalizing in small weathers, and after that, it's all good. About equal game in medium winds and way faster in strong winds at any speed. Architects and engineers imagined foils because they were restrained by the Imoca gauge at the mast level, the keel, and the ballasts. Boats are therefore faster than the ones from the previous generation, but are way more demanding for their skippers. It's above all managing the speed that's different, because we'll often be faster. We're going to reach top speeds way faster, and so it requires concentration. We know that if the sea is rough, if we get hit by a wave, it can be dangerous. Piloting is more athletic. We're really on the razor's edge, literally.
Last week I went to the shop and I bought a rugby helmet, just to make sure if I'm in the conditions where I'm worried, like at least protecting the head. So it's definitely more demanding, but it's also an awful lot more fun as well.
The two great races of the first part of the season, the British Transat and the NewYork-Vendée Transat, were dominated by these new machines. Will competitors who have not given in to the foils temptation like Vincent Rioux be able to keep up the pace?
Les foils sont clairement.
Foils are clearly today the future of sailing. Foilers have won the two pre-season Transats, but let's say on an around-the-globe course, it's a different issue. Today, both can do it, not under the same conditions, not following the same script, and I think the first week scenario will be important on the outcome of either solution.
Des deux solutions.
Sur un tour du monde,
On a world around today, digital data credit us with 3 or 4 days compared to a boat not equipped with foils. All this still needs to be proven. Between boats that fly and others, it's a sure thing this Vendée Globe is going to settle the case. There's something else we're pretty sure of. One's going to have to be awfully strong to make it to the end of the story. And Jérémy Bayou isn't one to contradict us. One needs to be better equipped, better prepared on many aspects, and physically is part of it. I prepared myself more physically. I found I hadn't done it enough before. I think the global level is rising. True for the boats equipped with foils, but also for keel boats. These boats go way faster because they develop more power. Loads on the sheets are more important. At some point, the cranks got to be fit to work them, because if you're missing arms and shoulders, well, it won't work.
ça passe pas.
Skippers perfect their physical condition. Others answer solicitations. Technical teams finish up the last works. Medias from around the world want to know everything. And nearly 700,000 visitors roaming the official village's 25,000 square meters. Such is the Vendée Globe's life in its ultimate phase before the start. Morgan Lagravière is discovering all this. He's one of the 14 new participants taking part in the race. Like a privilege, before opening to the public, he treats himself to a private visit of the Vendée Globe's exhibit. Of course, he's into it. It's quite amazing to see the richness of these skippers. There's quite an age range. Very different profiles. Some that are out there for the adventure, others to win. It's fun to be able to see all these faces right there. The Safran skipper is off to make a mark, knowing he's never in a race spent more than 15 days alone at sea. Of course I apprehend a little, and thank goodness. It would be worrisome if I didn't ask myself these questions. It surely isn't a formality to take off for 80 days on such a boat. Sure, there's a lot of desire, a lot of excitement to discover these places, the race, and at the same time focus on the ability to perform in such a challenging context. Morgan Lagravière already imagines himself there.
Bonjour.
Jacques Vabre, 57. A nautical resume as long as a windless day, with no less than 6 world rounds as a competitor. It's for certain the feeling I have walking on the pontoon is that of a sailor. One knows that all the boats here are going to tell wonderful stories, some sad, some happy ones. So walking onto the pontoons at early dawn is a way to immerse myself slowly into the race and think of all that's going to happen. He is today the director of the Vendée Globe's race. His mission, his part are essential. Responsibility over these 29 challengers, of course, I feel it deep down. Because once they're liberated past the start, that's when we come in and really become, my team and I, the eye of the day-to-day on each competitor. We're going to have difficulties, difficult moments. We know. This is what our job's going to be like. Jacques and his team need to concentrate on the hottest file of the moment. The start is an enormous machinery. The way out of Les Sables d'Olonne, with the chronological start of the patrol boats, the Imocas, of course, but all the semi-rigids, the yachting, the old rigs, The chartered passenger cruises from the commerce port. Within an hour, we're talking about 200 boats.
200 bateaux.
Slowly and surely, days progress and near the competitors of the relief of the departure. On board Conrad Coleman's boat, we check one last time nothing's missing. For example, the emergency kit that are supposed to help the skipper tend to a maximum of situations.
Moi, je fonctionne comme ça, c'est-à-dire tu m'appelles.
That's how I do it. You call me, we discuss. I say, okay, I think this is what it is. Yeah, I'm hurt here or there. That's it. Then I send you an email with what I think you have, along with the treatment you need to take. I always put it in writing. I think mentalities have changed. I remember the first Vendée Globe. The skipper would look and say, oh my gosh, if he's bringing me an emergency kit, that means I could run into medical problems. So he's put the kit in a corner, forgetting about it. It stresses me to think I could have a problem alone on the water. Now, they're much more serene. Within the Saint-Michel-Virbac team, the food supplies are starting to be loaded. There are 9 bags. That's the supply for a Vendée Globe. For a sailor, a skipper, a sportsman. So all's been well said, organized, well prepared. 150 kilos of food, essentially lyophilized products, are loaded inside the boat. Weight being the sworn enemy of performance, we're talking strict minimum.
J'ai amené pour
I brought enough for 12-week sailing. 82 days. Afterwards, I'll have to eat the leftovers. Everything is set for this intense moment of emotion, the cast-off, before the confrontation of the outrageousness of the ultimate course, the race, before setting off for a world around as much as for an introspection.
Waouh, quand même. C'est ce qu'on va chercher finalement.
That's what we're out for in the South Seas, these waves. I hope they won't be as steep.
The dream, you know, the big ticket is to win, and you know, that's what we're aiming for.
It's victory, no less. Do better than 4 years ago. There's no other scenario.
Il n'y a pas d'autre scénario.
Là, c'est 3.
I tell myself that the 3 months coming up in your lifetime, those are moments to relish. Embrace life to the fullest.
It's like the proverbial village lunatic, you know. You keep banging your head off the wall, you know. Why do you do that? It's great when you stop.
Everything's a dream to me. There was more anxiety at the beginning of the project than now. Now, it's plain happiness. I want to go and live up this Vendée Globe to the top.
dire là-dedans qui est-ce qui...
To know who's going to succeed, who's going to have the right opportunities and make the best out of them, it's plain impossible. The Vendée Globe Legend, Chapter 8, starting November 6th, 1:02 p.m.